Hey everybody, welcome. Today we're going to first bake a healthy granola bar, and before we start, I've got to be real quick though. One person's healthy may not be another person's healthy. There's some people that believe that oatmeal is used to fatten up horses, so they won't eat it. Some people don't eat grains. That's understandable. Some people don't eat seeds. So you can do variations. I say it's sugar-free, but it has natural sugar because I use raisins in this. So I'm just letting you know, and it's got a banana. It's got 3 mashed bananas in it too. So, and then it's got applesauce, but no sugar added, but it's still apples. So the apples, the bananas, and the raisins do have natural sugar, but there's no added sugars other than that. So we like these. We have found these are better than the processed bars we buy at the store. And I mean, anytime you're going to get them at the store, they're going to be like that, unfortunately, but they've got to have shelf life. So what we're going to do first, we're going to mix our wet ingredients and then our dry ingredients in 2 separate bowls, and then we're going to mix them together. Then we're going to put them on this baking sheet that has a piece of parchment paper on it. Makes it really easy for it to come off nicely. I've got the oven preheating to 350. So this is what we're going to do. So first I've got 2 bananas already in here. And now I'm going to add this third one. The reason I had the 2 already in there is because they were in the freezer. And I did not have 3 bananas that were as ripe as I wanted. So I'm going to mash these up and get them all good mashed up because we want them to be able to spread out really good in our bar. Because when you don't add sugar, whether it's honey or some kind of sugar substitute. These are about 2/3 cup of applesauce. So I use these. Now, if you can scrape your own apple, that's great too. But you want your fruit in here because that's going to be your little bit of sweet. Because if this is going to be a sweet treat for you to keep you from eating something that's not good for you. But anyway, that's our only wet products. Okay, so now I'm supposed to be looking at the recipe, aren't I? Mix dry ingredients. Stir the banana mixture in until it's well combined. So let's mix the dry ingredients. So we need 3.5 cups. Our oven just preheated. So I've got the 1 cup here. So let me do, and you know what? I'm one of those that measures loosely because unless I'm doing something that I know I have really got to make sure. But this is one of these things, if there's a little more oats, I'm not going to have a fit. By the way, this is my 1/2 cup. Okay, so I have 3.5 cups. Obviously, I've never cooked with people watching me before like this, so this is totally different. All right, we've got 3.5 cups of rolled oats. Now, a 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds. Sometimes I get the salted ones, sometimes I don't. It depends on where I'm at and what they have. Put a little more in there. Okay. Now, it calls for a 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds, which I don't ever have. Now, I like sunflower seeds, but I never have them. So I usually either put more pumpkin seeds or I've crushed up some walnuts today. So I did a 1/2 cup of walnuts. And then, 1/2 cup of raisins or dried cranberries, something like that to give it a little bit of sugar. And let me just tell you on that. So the thing about the cranberries, I love cranberries, but when you go to buy the cranberries dried in the grocery store, usually they're sweetened with sugar or some sugar substitute. I guess if you dried your own cranberries, it might work, but what I do is I use raisins, and let me tell you what I do with these raisins. I don't get the sugar-coated raisins, but I actually cut them, because I've already done them this morning. I cut them in half because I want more little bites throughout the bar. You don't have to do that. It's aggravating. It's not necessary, but that's what I do. We need a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I will have them put this on the comments or wherever they put it, so that if you want the recipe, you'll have the recipe, because that might be kind of hard to keep up with. Oh, I forgot to get the 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds out of the refrigerator. Okay, let me grab those real quick. We're doing 2 tablespoons of ground flax seed. Okay, so this recipe, as you can tell, good form of protein, fiber. It's low fat, low sodium, no cholesterol. all natural sugar. So there's a lot of good things here. Okay, let's mix our dry ingredients. Okay, so I've mixed that up. Isn't that pretty with those pretty green pumpkin seeds? Okay, so now I'm going to put my wet mixture in. So really, this is done. That's how simple this is. And I mean, as far as the hard part's done. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on the parchment paper after we get this all mixed up really good. And then we're gonna cook it. And usually it takes about 30 minutes. You know, ovens vary, humidity in the air, all those kinds of things. So it may take less or it may take more. But you'll kind of know because the edges, you know, start getting a little brown. But you'll also know because it'll pull away somewhat from the edges of the parchment paper or the edges of your pan, your baking sheet. We try to do more of these kind of things as much as possible just to keep ourselves from eating processed snacks or sugars. And what I do is when they're finished, I'll cut them up in bars and put them in the refrigerator. And Michael used to carry one a day for his lunch. And you know, we eat them other times too, but it's just a good little snack. It curbs your need for a yucky snack. I mean, it takes time, guys, to get off the bad stuff, but you can do it. You can do it. So I tried to cut my paper where it was prettier for those of you that have issues with that. But my parchment paper is never pretty and perfect. Sometimes I actually will do this on a bigger cookie sheet than this, and it just won't fill it all the way up, and it's no big deal. And if you're somebody that wants your edges to all be even, then what you do is when you're finished, you just cut off those uneven edges and eat them. Not now, I mean when it cooks. If you're one of those people that needs it all to be even and perfect. Obviously I'm not, I just eat those edges then. Okay, I'm gonna pop that in the oven. Now we've made our healthy bars, and in a little bit we'll see how those turned out. But let's talk a little bit about taking care of ourselves and being healthy. First off, you know, physically, obviously what we put in our bodies is gonna come out somehow. And whether, you know, you'll know whether you're putting in the good stuff or the bad stuff. It shows somewhere, whether it shows to your eye or on the MRI, it's gonna show. I mean, you can go have it tucked, sucked, you know, cut off, whatever, and look good to the eye, but what's on the inside? You can't have that cut off, tucked, sucked, you know, removed. So we need to take care of what's on the inside. You know, if that's eating clean, or if it's, you know, okay, you don't want to give up cake, or you don't want to give up your special treat to some restaurant, don't. But we just can't do it every day. So we've got to make healthier decisions. You know, say, hey, Saturday's my cheat day, or I can have this, I've been good this week. I mean, don't indulge to the point that you're sick and you're doing it too much, obviously. But, you know, we just have to limit those things. And it takes a conscious effort. It's hard. It's just like drinking water. You know, so many people are like, I don't like water. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't want, you know what? Then do your 64 ounces every day and then drink whatever, I guess. Because you know what? It's your body. It's your health. It's your life. But I know it's important for our bodies to work properly, to have proper hydration. And it's better if you can do more than 64. But if that's all you can do, that's fantastic. I know people that aren't doing 16 ounces a day. I don't even know how they function. I was dehydrated and I was putting 100 ounces of water in my body every day. But my body wasn't absorbing it, and it was because of how I was drinking it. I was drinking it too fast. I was not sipping it and giving it time to absorb. So my blood pressure would bottom out. I'm talking like 90/40 or whatever, and I felt like I was gonna fall out. once I figured out, hey, this is like a good soaking rain. You know, if it rains too fast, too hard, you know, we have floods and everything starts rolling away. You know, the water just rolls away. But if we have a good soaking, steady rain, it's what feeds our garden and our flower beds because it has time to soak it in. Well, your body's the same way. If you are just guzzling water, it doesn't have time to soak it in, and it needs it. It desperately needs it. So another thing is some kind of exercise. No, it doesn't have to be extreme. It is hard to squeeze in exercise. I know, I deal with it myself. But you know, if you say I'm somebody that's in a chair, or I'm somebody that's in the bed, I can't get out. Okay, well, can you move your arms? Let's move our arms every day. And then let's add weights after we do so much. Let's pull our feet up and down, you know, on our tiptoes and our heels, and move our legs. Let's do some kind of movement. Do what you can, don't overdo it, but we need some kind of movement. If you can get out and walk, then you need to get out and walk. Enjoy nature, enjoy, you know, being out, walking and exercising. It's good for that ticker. So physically, yes, we need a little bit of exercise. We need to make better decisions eating wise to be healthier. Another way of taking care of ourselves and being healthy is mentally and emotionally. What you put in will show up. Once again, if you are telling yourself positive stuff every day and good things, looking in that mirror and talking good to yourself, you know, whether you're at work or wherever, and you're telling yourself, hey, that's a good job. You don't need somebody else to always be telling you how great you are, how beautiful you are, what a good person you are, or all that kind of stuff. You can tell yourself, and you need to tell yourself. And if you keep telling yourself, you might actually get a little more positive, a little more happy, a little more healthier mentally and emotionally. I'm not saying that's the answers for everything, but what we put in will come out. If we're feeding ourselves negative, ugly, down, Debbie Downer stuff all the time, we're going to be down, okay? The third thing that I have that I wanted to talk about in taking care of ourselves and being healthy is spiritually. What you put in will eventually come out. You know, if we're reading and we're studying God's Word every day, that's going to be coming out of us. We're going to learn to live like Jesus, guys. You know, when we are not reading and digging deep into the Word, I think sometimes we get confused. We'll be like, is this really wrong? You know, is this wrong or right? I don't know, you know? I mean, there's some things, yes, you definitely know. But then I think there are times we go, I don't know, is this so bad? Maybe it's not so bad. Okay, but if we are digging in that Word and we are, you know, just flooding ourselves with the Bible, which is our book to live by. It was written for us to live by. Then that's the stuff that comes out. That is when the Holy Spirit says to you, Kristin, that's wrong. You don't need to be doing that. Or, hey, you know, I need to help them. That's what Jesus would do. We think that way because that's what we're putting in. And, you know, then when we have an issue, we know how to tackle it because we know how important prayer is and talking to the Lord. And when we do that, you know, sometimes it might be that prayer was enough. Sometimes we might have to fast and pray to get the clear answers. But we do that because that is what we're feeding ourselves. That's what we know, and that's how we know to handle things in life. So physically, mentally and emotionally, spiritually, we will behave better, we will feel better, we will be better if we remember that what we're putting in will come out in some way, some fashion. And that's what all three of these have in common. I'm not saying that we will then be perfect and never mess up, because we will. But when we do that, we just need to remember, hey, I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday. I'm going to keep plugging forward and being better, you know? Our body is a temple. How are we caring for it? Our bodies are God's temple, and it says it in the Word. It says it in 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 1 Corinthians 6:19 and probably several other places I'm not thinking of, that you are the temple of God. the Spirit dwells in you. So how are we taking care of it, guys? That means physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, we've got these granola bars, and they're about to be out of the oven, and we're gonna see how good they are today. Okay, so we just pulled these out of the oven, so they're hot. And you know what we talked about, the edges are kind of brown, and you can see how it's pulled away from the edge. So you know that they're done. So I just usually get well, sometimes I do a knife. It depends on what I got going on. I usually don't make them this wide, but I'm gonna do them in squares for us this time. I actually usually make a regular bar, so that one kind of fell apart, but needs to cool. I mean, they literally just came out of the oven, so they're extremely hot. But these are wonderful little bars, extremely hot, but it's good. I hope you enjoy them. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend, wonderful week. Oh, one more thing, make sure that your doggy babies don't get these if they have raisins in them, because those are dried grapes. So if you're worried about your dogs eating them, then of course you need to use something else in them. But because I know you saw our little pooch running around here, he likes to be in the spotlight. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us for Kristin Talks, and I hope you enjoy your healthy granola bars.